Hi guys, follow me on Instagram to never ever miss any of my crazy updates. Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I'm driving this. This is the Mercedes GLS 450, the petrol version of the GLS, and it's almost 2 meters wide, 1999 mm to be precise. Opening the engine bay is a bit of a challenge because, no it is not. There it is, hydraulic struts, insulation right there, says 6-cylinder. Engine bay is not the cleanest right now, but my goodness, it's humongous, the engine bay. In fact, this car itself is huge. It's bigger than its predecessor in terms of almost every dimension. Okay, the length is more than 5.2 meters and the wheelbase is almost 3.2 meters actually. More than 3.1 meters is the wheelbase of the car. You get side footsteps and you get massive 21-inch wheels. The wheels are so massive now that it can shame a supercar. The rear wheels, of course, and you get the typical Mercedes logo, massive logo, and you get a front parking camera. These are Mercedes lights, which are multi-beam LEDs. Super duper awesome. The throw is so impressive that it can project light up to 650 meters. Okay, right now I put it on off-road height, so you can see the ground clearance is also increased at the moment. The size of the front tires, 275/45, 21s. Okay, I like the design of the alloy wheels. From the side, you realize that this car does not occupy one parking, it occupies two parkings. In a typical parking lot in Mumbai, of course, they've given it a lot of chrome treatment almost everywhere, and of course, you have the Mercedes logo being projected from here and a camera as well. Meanwhile, coming to the rear, I realized that it's a massive walk coming behind. Okay, now the lights are actually small both at the front as well as the rear. It says 4MATIC right there. Again, chrome line. These lights are beautiful. The way they light up at night, now when you turn on the car, rather when you unlock the car, is absolutely beautiful. Really love them. And it says GLS 450 right there. Chrome treatment. They put a lot of chrome, but the exhaust, well, not completely real as such. You can see the exhaust is actually Faisal Khan's fingers of truth. I'm not impressed because these are fake sort of vents. The actual exhaust happens to be below, of course, because it needs two exhausts. It's a massively big engine actually. Now, I can't even stretch to show you the top, but if you can see these are roof rails, which are kind of functional. There's a rear spoiler as well, and they've given this sort of a gloss black finish, but not much to talk about in terms of the design. Let's do one thing. Let's open the boot of the vehicle. Electric tailgate, of course, now because it is on the off-road height, it's kind of difficult to access the boot. So what do? There's actually a button to reduce the ride height. Press this button and there you see it actually declines the ride height, so it becomes just easier to stuff in things. Or I think you can actually do it yourself by putting in a little bit more effort. Forget the gym. The GLS will make you work out while parking, but then it doesn't really need to because it's got self park, of course. You see, with all the 3 rows up, there's actually decent amount of space here. Okay, and below here you got the spare wheel, which obviously cannot be a full size one because it will not fit in here. 155/80/19 is the size of the tire. And you know what, you can open there's storage space here as well. Light placement. This is to actually recline the seats. Very easy to recline the seats. We want to see that. Here you see, I press a button and there the seat reclines. Okay, very easy. Like, look at the amount of space it has now once the seat is reclined. It's absolutely enormous. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me further increase the boot carrying capacity. I press another button and there reclines the second row of seats too. The amount of space in this car is equivalent to a 1 BHK house in Mumbai. I kid you not. That is the amount of space in offer. Look at that. Okay, with so much space, I can actually park a Mercedes A-Class hatchback inside. Other than the fact that this parcel shelf has to be removed as well. Now let's do one thing. Let's put everything back into place, which means just I press a button that is actually moving ahead, and there everything is coming up. One touch electric adjust works fantastically well, and we are back into position. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Okay, just going to press a button here to close the boot of the vehicle, and there it shuts. Okay, now the good bit is that getting into the last row of seats is very easy. I'll tell you why. Okay, first and foremost, I open this door. Okay, and those are actually heavy. You press a button here. Okay, press a button here, and there it does everything on its own. Now you notice that the front seat also moves a bit as it keeps moving. It's not the smoothest movement, some amount of jerks in between, but hey, it makes life so much easier to get inside the last row of seats, of course. Now the last rows of seats are actually good enough. You get two USB-C charging sockets. This is to put this seat, the seat I just moved ahead back into place. There's a toothpaste here. I don't even know why that is the case. There's a cubby hole. Actually, seating in the third row is not bad at all, but it's not the same level of comfort as the old GLS, which had more space at the rear along with a sunroof there too for the third row passengers. Here you get a massive panoramic roof. but sorry, third row passengers, not for you. Actually, this is a very comfortable place for kids and also decently comfortable for adults. Only thing is under thigh support is a bit lacking here. Knee room and all depends on how you plan to compromise with the second row passengers, because first and foremost, this thing actually reclines by up to 30 degrees, and then the seat can move ahead and behind by almost 100 mm. So they have really focused their attention into the second row of seats, because they say this is the S class of SUVs, and people who buy, okay, we're just going to adjust this, people who buy S class really focus on the middle row of seats, not really on the last row of seats, because people who buy an S class do not get a last row of seats. I mean, the third row of seats are not present in an S class. Very easy to move this ahead and behind. Only thing is this center console extends all the way. Okay, you've got a 4-zone climate control air conditioning system. Yeah, that works nicely. But thing is, it extends all the way now, so the third passenger really has to put his legs rather into other sides. Scoop that seat back, magazine holder here. Seats are really comfortable, gets the Isofix child seat mounts, and of course here you see there's a screen, there's a tablet, there's a wireless charging pad. We'll just get in from that side. Now the good thing is that you can operate both the sun blinds from here itself, and it's a nice way of doing a sun blind in one piece only. Okay, I'll just open that side one also, so you can control all this. And that's not all, you can also control the top sun blind from the rear, of course, which means that there's quite a lot of control which has been given to this rear seat passengers, because again, it's all about rear seat comfort and pampering in this particular car. Let's do one thing, let's just open this and we are going to shut the door. Okay, no soft door close, which you would expect at this price point, but then they have to reserve a lot of things for the Maybach as well. Now the rear tire size is absolutely obnoxious. I mean, what were they thinking by putting such a massive rear tire? 315 40 21. You know what is 315? This is what 315 is. Look at the size of the tires. It makes supercar tires look actually small. Okay, there's no request sensors on the doors, which is very disappointing, because you have to always remove the key to unlock the car, so no keyless entry as such. Now the doors actually open quite wide, and I know many of you are waiting for me to compare with the Tata Altroz, but I shall not. Okay, it says Mercedes-Benz right there. Now the thing is that there are AC vents on the B pillar. There's a hook here as well. Seat is actually behind. What do? I press this button and I can move the seat ahead as well. So yeah, the rear guy gets all the controls too, which is very nice. When I get inside, I realize there's so much legroom and knee room on offer. Crazy amount of knee room and legroom on offer here. You see, under thigh support is also decent enough. There's a lot of headroom as well. Crazy amount of headroom too. Let's shut the doors. It gets this Burmester treatment, which looks really very nice. I mean, Burmester speakers, 13 speakers in this car, electric adjust almost everywhere, and the fact that you get height adjustable seat belts is also very nice. Now there is actually a storage space here. Below this there is again storage space. I told you there's a wireless charging pad and there's this screen. Okay, it's a tablet actually from Android, but you cannot control the sun blinds from here, which is disappointing. However, you can control a lot of other things, like obviously ambient lighting, which is 64 colors. And let's get into the back menu and the usual Mercedes affair of comfort settings and MBUX. Yeah, some amount of glare on the screen right now. Just put it back into place, and there it sits very nicely. So the rear seat is amazing. There's so much space on offer. Very impressive indeed. However, they could have offered a lot more in the rear seat for sure. And you know what? Since the ambient light is actually on and you can see some amount of it, I'm just going to change the color to blue. Can you see that change? There it changes. Okay, so the ambient lighting is really very lit in this car. Of course, the new S-Class makes this car look a little old now because the S-Class has crazy amount of tech. Okay, we'll just shut this sun blind for the moment. They've really focused a lot of their attention in the second row, and they've done a great job in that sense. Now, this car gets plenty of features as you would expect from a full-size Mercedes car. But the problem is that this GLS looks identical to the GLE as far as the dashboard goes. Only thing is this is kind of polished. In the GLE you get it matte, but the interior, rather the dashboard, is identical. Now the seats are very comfortable. You get ambient light here as well, and you got a proper dead pedal. A lot of metal inside this car, like switchgear is really very impressive. This is the electric parking brake. This is for the headlight. Obviously it gets automatic headlights. This is for the fog lamp, and this is for the headlight leveler. Now you see metal switches, very good quality. These are for the power window, these are for the outside rear view mirror adjustment. It gets memory seats. You can save up to 3 people settings, both for the driver as well as for the co-driver. And it says Burmester right there. Door pockets are massive at the front. Now the good thing is that I can actually operate the seat, the co-driver seat, from my side itself, from the driver's side too. So yeah, that is the worst seat to be in. Anybody and everybody can actually move it as they wish. Okay, getting in is not difficult because obviously you've got a nice footrest. Okay, now the electrically retracting one, like in the case of the Maybach. Okay, it says key not detected. It's in my freaking pocket right now. All right, like I told you, the dashboard design is identical to the GLE, but this is finished in gloss instead of matte, and there are a lot of soft touch materials everywhere, so quality of the cabin is faultless, I would say. Glove box is also large enough. Okay, it actually has the cooling function? No, probably yes, I don't know. Okay, because I kind of feel chill there. Now there is a wireless charging pad here. There are two USB-C charging sockets along with a 12-volt charging socket, twin cup holders, and there's a nice button to actually eject your drink, of course. Now this is just done for time pass. Actually, it's so that you can hold your finger better, and this is to increase or decrease the ride height of the vehicle. Below here there's storage space with a USB-C charging socket, but you know what, I mean, it's decent sized without a doubt, but could have been slightly bigger as well. This is a hold on to when you're going through some body roll. I can shut this by actually pulling it out. These are the controls for the air conditioning. Engine start button. This is, you know what, obviously for the stop start system, and it gets electric adjust for the steering wheel, both for reach as well as rake. The car really impresses when it comes to its screens. Twin 12.3 inch screens, very nice. Once, let's open the sunroof before it starts raining even harder and faster. There opens the sunroof. Actually, they've done a beautiful sunroof in this car, but I miss the old GLS's sunroof, which was even better because it used to bring in so much light to the last row of passengers as well. Now you've got a mirror here along with a light, but they could have given it twin visors. Again, certain things they reserve only for the Maybach. And all the light placement is on the top, which is also nice because it's easy to operate these lights. Right now, I don't know, the lights have gone on a vacation. Dear light, why don't you turn on? There it turns on. Says Me, SOS, all these connected car things, because it's Mercedes Me, connected car tech with app wherein you can obviously do a lot of things. Okay, let's use the wipers right away. Yeah, wipers are really very nice. And there's plenty of spray on offer as well. In order to operate the rear wiper, the switch is actually here. So you can see I'm operating the rear wiper. Yeah, rear wiper works really very nicely. But you know what? The rear wiper is actually 4-5 kilometers behind. That is the level of length of this car. Steering wheel is nice to hold. These are controls for the cruise control. These are the controls for the audio system. Doesn't get the flat bottom treatment, but the horn is actually very nice. I love the screens on Mercedes cars. The instrument cluster is fantastic. Okay, the best thing is you can browse through so much information, and you can actually browse through here as well. You just check this out. On the left side also they have got information. So if you don't want to see the speedometer, you can do that. I mean, you don't want an analog version of a digital speedometer, and there's an inclinometer as well telling you the incline levels and whatnot, because obviously this car can go off the road with quite a lot of ease. And there on the right side also, from the tachometer also, I can browse so many things. So this is like absolutely mind boggling. But then after seeing the new S-Classes instrument cluster, I'm like, this is kind of old right now for me. All the information is super duper fantastically done. And then, you know, whatever you can browse on the screen, you can browse every information here as well. So in terms of styles and displays, there's this progressive one which actually looks nice. I personally like the sport one. I also like the classic one. So I mean, this is such a screen now, you would never ever want to see the infotainment system at all, because everything is right now in your line of sight. And when you change this now, the color also changes there, if you noticed it. Now this is a fantastic screen, very fluid, very nice. It's the MB UX, of course, and then it's operated with touch. There's voice commands. There's this touchpad as well, which I really don't like much. I like the old rotary controller. And there are buttons here. This is for the camera, this is for the car settings, this is for the drive mode, this is the volume control, navigation, map, radio and telephone, and this is obviously to browse through it with the touchpad and all, which, like I told you, I don't really like as such. And getting into the cameras, okay, it has got 360-degree views, obviously, really nice views, very legit, and the reverse parking camera is also very nice. Camera quality is awesome. Okay, adaptive guidelines, of course you would expect that at this price point. And then, you know, this is so slick. This system is amazingly slick. You can get into comfort. There's something known as seat kinetics, which is sort of a massage and not really the full bounty. And then you can get into ambient lighting, and you've got 64 colors for the ambient lighting, and you can get into multicolor as well. And there's some settings for the multicolor too. Ambient lighting, very nicely done on this car. Get into info, and this is what I really like. Okay, it tells me exactly how much gas I'm pressing and how much brake I'm pressing. You can see that full brakes, and it's just saying 93%. Okay, it shows you engine data as well, consumption. This is so loaded now. I mean, this thing doesn't even need an introduction, because we've been through this so many times. This is just an easier mode to get into, you know, if you want to actually have the access height. Okay, it lowers the car when you enter it. This is for parking sensors, this is for the ESP system, this is for manual mode for the gearbox, this is for downhill assist, and there's a car wash mode as well. Yeah, car wash mode. Vehicle raise, mirrors folded in, Parkotronic off, rain sensor off, rear window wiper off, tilt, sliding, sunroof closed, windows closed. So basically something which you would do manually, it does it everything on its own when you get into car wash mode as well. Fantastic. I love this system. I think it's very fluid. It's so easy to get used to now. It's amazing. Okay, these levers could have been better. This is obviously the gas selector. This is for the wipers and obviously for the indicator as well. Now, like I told you, it has got self-park, which works fantastically well. Very easy and very required for a car of this size, which is absolutely humongous. The car has got 9 freaking airbags. Yeah, 9 freaking airbags. Auto-dimming inside rear view mirror. And the audio quality is absolutely surreal. 13 speaker Bumister system. Let's listen to an audio right away. Audio quality is fab, absolutely amazing. I mean, nothing vibrates because the build quality is super duper awesome, and then amazing audio too. Hey Mercedes!
How can I help?
Okay, it says online service currently unavailable, so it's not going to really be able to help me. Otherwise, I can give her a few commands and stuff. And then car is advanced enough that it can also judge what should be my seat position based on my height. That's also pretty cool, huh? So car's kind of making me lazy right now. Mercedes could have given it better paddles. Okay, these are plasticky ones. They could have given it some sort of an aluminium treatment. But there's nothing to fault with this cabin other than the fact that the old GLS was more spacious and a more usable 7-seater. This one is more about a 5-seater, or you can actually use it as a 4-seater when you use a center console for the tablet and all those things. But it is actually becoming the S-class of SUVs in terms of overall comfort, luxury and whatnot. However, this is the petrol. Is it better to drive than the diesel? Well, let's get going straight away. Alright, we are all set to go, which means turning off the air conditioning. By the way, it has got gesture control. Obviously, it's not as cool as the one in BMW cars. And what you're going to do is, you see, it is actually moving according to my fingers, highlighting stuff. Anyways, we are going to quickly get into info. Here, I'm going to turn on the engine data. I'm going to get into comfort mode. Yeah, we are into comfort mode. Why comfort mode? What's wrong with me? Why not into sport mode? I'll tell you that in a bit. Okay, I need to turn off traction control, lower the car. The car is lower now. And straight away, ESP turned off. Okay, not that it makes any difference. And we are going to turn on manual mode for the gearbox as well. Here into gear, manual shifting on, it says. Hazard light off, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor, revs till 2400 rpm. Red lines at 6,400 rpm. You see, acceleration is quite brisk. This car goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in a rather quick 7 seconds for a car which weighs as much as a house. Okay, sorry, it's as big as a house and weighs as much as that thing right in front of you. Still, it is pretty quick to reach 100 kilometers per hour. 7 seconds, that's almost half a second faster than the fantastic diesel. And a diesel is a diesel is a diesel is a diesel. I had to say that anyway. Okay, there is a lot of grease on the road, so we're just going to... I think someone's dropped oil. We're just going to slow down a bit. Braking performance is obviously very nice, but you know, under braking, you can feel the suspension dive a bit, nose dive as such. Let's talk about the power output. So this is a 2999cc motor. It's a straight 6 engine, okay, and it's a fantastic unit known as the 450 in Mercedes parlance. Actually, 450 is because it produces 367 horsepower. I still don't understand why they call it 450, but then random numbers can be thrown anywhere. So 367 horsepower, which comes in at 5,500 rpm and stays there till 6,100 rpm. But the torque output of 500 Newton meters comes in at a rather low 1600 rpm and stays there till 4500 rpm, giving it a really nice, meaty, juicy mid-range punch. In fact, getting on the throttle, the response is absolutely immediate, and that's not because of the engine, it's because of the electric, like the electric assist. It's a hybrid motor, petrol electric, which uses a 48 volt mild hybrid system, which produces an additional 22 horsepower and 250 Newton meters under hard acceleration, giving this car an additional punch, a kick in the pants feel for added acceleration, and feels really very nice to drive. In fact, I love the diesel, but I think this is very sporty and fun as well in terms of the way this sounds, because super silent. You can barely hear anything inside the cabin. Okay, that nose dive I was talking about, check this out. There it dives a bit while stopping because of the soft suspension. Nothing to change. We're just going to touch the paddles, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor, 2500 rpm. Listen to this, okay? It sounds sporty, you know. It's super silent till 3000 rpm, and past 3000 rpm now, it starts to become vocal in a good way. Really sporty, really nice. Mid-range punch is super duper awesome, but that electric assist really gives it more punchy performance, and it also helps in terms of efficiency. Still, this car's efficiency numbers are nothing great to talk about. Should return between 6 to 9 kilometers per liter, again depending entirely on your driving style. This car actually weighs 45 kgs less than the diesel, but still weighs 2460 kgs. Obnoxiously heavy, obnoxiously huge, but gives you a good view of what's around. I mean, you can look over everything almost, but that said, in the city it's a bit cumbersome to drive because you don't have parking space, you don't have places to move around. And the major issue here is the fact that taking a U-turn can be a bit cumbersome because of the massive turning radius, but then you won't complain much about it because the steering wheel is actually on the lighter side. Now the engine, I'm all praises for it. I think it's fantastic, but there's no sport mode on offer. There are 3 drive modes. There's comfort, there's off-road, and there's eco. That's it. There's no sport mode on offer in a car which costs more than ₹1 crore. I'm quite surprised. Diesel doesn't have it. It's fine, but the petrol should definitely have it because I think the engine has it in it to give you sporty performance. Now what does it change? It changes the engine, the gearbox, which is a 9-speed torque converter unit, which is decently quick with shifts, but doesn't give you manual control of things. Even when you press manual here, and I don't know what I've done to the screen here, you see around the corners, this car actually has a lot of roll, but the steering is very precise. The steering is so precise now that you can point and shoot it it will give you a good amount of feedback and weight. But don't be mistaken, feedback and weight one side, roll on the other, plenty of it. Let's quickly get into the settings, and actually I want to get into the assistance systems. Active brake assist, we are going to turn it to early. Okay, what does it exactly do? Okay, it can judge if there's something in front of you and apply brakes, which works flawlessly well. I mean, the safety systems in Mercedes cars is so good. Okay, you obviously have this blind spot monitor here and whatnot. Everything works flawlessly well, really smooth, really accurate, and the best part is it's just so fluid somehow. And the ride quality is also fantastic on good roads. Now the thing is that it has massive 21-inch wheels, which is actually a bit of a problem at lower speeds and on bad roads, because you can feel the car rock a bit over bad roads and potholes. So that's a bit bothersome, but for the most part there is little to complain about the way this car rides. It's absolutely smooth, refined, and definitely, you know what, glides through. It has sort of a cushion underneath it because of the air suspension at higher speed. So the high speed ride is fantastic. On the highway, you're going to love this car. The GLS is absolutely phenomenal. And I know, okay, you don't interrupt right now. So basically it has a 90-liter fuel tank, which is somehow great in the diesel, because I went from Mumbai to Hyderabad on one tank of gas, but in the petrol with lower fuel economy, obviously that is not going to be possible. Yeah, I love the way it pulls. Okay, it's very linear somehow. The power delivery is super linear, super smooth, super refined, and performance, big thumbs up. Only thing is there should have been a sport mode and proper manual control of things. Why do you even have a manual mode here? I don't even understand. These guys are like, okay, here, quick access, and yeah, manual mode. I've selected manual mode, but it shifts gears when it feels like. I can see the EQ meter, you know, dancing from here to there. Once you lift off, it gets into charge. When you brake, it charges completely, and then it also shows when it's actually assisting you by, you know, giving you additional boost as well. So all this works very nicely in the Mercedes GLS 450. It's a 4MATIC system, obviously, so even with traction control off, you cannot feel any loss of traction because power is being channeled to all the four wheels, and it's done so fantastically well that the smoothness is amazing. They don't need traction control in this car. You know why? Because it's got massive tires. The tires are so massive now. There's grip, and there's acres of grip. And of course, it's got air suspension, and you can raise the ride height. But unfortunately, it doesn't firm up the suspension because there's no mode to firm up the suspension. There's no sport mode as such. So it doesn't firm up the suspension for even better handling. Rather, I would say that the e-active body control could have been offered in this car, but it is not, which makes a big difference. And then you can obviously dance and impress people around you as well with the you know, free ride mode, which is there in the Maybach. Anyways, what I really like about the GLS is that it has great road presence, drives really well, super smooth, super refined, ride is good on the highway. Of course, in the city it could have been better, and although there's a lot of body roll, the steering wheel is supremely accurate, very, you know, point and shoot steering wheel in this car. Lot to like in this Mercedes GLS. But that brings me to the pricing of the car. This one costs 1.2 crores on road Mumbai, which is actually 2 lakhs cheaper than the diesel. I would just say pay that additional 2 lakh rupees and get the diesel, because a diesel is a diesel is a diesel is a diesel. And you're going to get, I mean, stop right now. And yeah, I love the smooth braking performance. Very nice, refined of course. And here we are going to get into styles and displays, and we're going to come to classic meter. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor. 6,500 RPM is a red line, and it actually rushes in the top end, so it doesn't struggle anywhere. And the hybrid system does such a good job that it's just so smooth and refined and glides through even on the worst of terrain. Now the good thing is, you can see in this instrument cluster, the assistance system is actually telling where is the other person, someone ahead of you, how far is that person. I don't know if you can see that. Every time I get into this thing and I forget about the info meter, here you see full throttle, there it goes. Fantastic. So if you want 2 more cylinders, you have to get the Maybach GLS, which is priced at 2.73 crores. You can get a petrol GLS as well as a diesel GLS, or I would say get the diesel GLS and a diesel version of the BMW X7, and you still save money over the Maybach. But the Maybach is a Maybach is a Maybach, because the GLS 600 is absolutely bonkers in the kind of features it has, which brings me to one simple question. I don't understand why Mercedes did not fit even more features in this car. Probably they need another variant which is loaded to the girth with a lot more kit. Specifically speaking, ventilated seats should have been offered here. Okay, I think this guy has just stopped. Another cool thing is, you saw how easy it was for me to twirl the steering wheel. It's absolutely obnoxious. Attention to detail is so good now that the AC vents actually, rather the AC actually reduces the blower speed when you get on a call, and it also has an umbrella holder. I kid you not, you can see Faisal Khan's fingers of truth right now going to the umbrella holder to tell you that there's no fake umbrella holder here. It's a proper one. And I was wondering why there's so much traffic here, because this dude has actually stopped right where, at a U-turn spot. We're going to take a U-turn now since we have a wider angle to U-turn, so there U-turn won't be a problem at all. But it's absolutely easy to take a U-turn because the steering is light, but there is, a lot of space which you need to execute a U-turn because of the massive size of this car. And then you get on the gas, you forget almost everything because the mid-range punch really surprises you, and in a pleasant manner, of course. So as I see it, the Mercedes GLS 450 is fantastic. Only if you are a petrol head and you want a petrol car, you would buy the GLS 450 over the GLS 400D, because I think a diesel just performs better because of the torque rush. And of course, equipment is the same between both the models. The pricing is almost similar, but the diesel is obviously more efficient as well. And with the cost of petrol going really obnoxious, well, diesel is the better bet any day. Coming around a corner, it stays sure-footed. Grip levels are not an issue at all. It's just that the body roll you have to contend with, and in spite of having air suspension and having no sport mode, that's kind of weird. Dampers should have become sportier still when you come around a corner to ensure that you don't roll as much. But then this is more of luxury, comfort, refinement, which is so good that when the car is actually turned on and at idle, you can't even hear it. You think it's actually turned off. That's the level of silence this car has. Unbelievable refinement. Smooth, right? Performance is really smooth and impressive as well. So guys, this is my vlog of the Mercedes GLS 450. This is the petrol, and I think it's really very nice a car. Fun, but yes, a little cumbersome to drive in the city, but you won't really complain much about it. There is the active brake assist which I was talking about. Rings like in a flash to warn you, and then it can apply brakes as well. Which brings me to the point of why actually traction control needs to be turned on or kept on, because active brake assist will only work if the ESP system is on. If you turn off the ESP system, the active brake assist will not work. Yeah, and it actually doesn't work in sport mode in a car which has a sport mode, which the GLS unfortunately does not have. Now coming onto these roads, you can just go through them because you know what, this car's tires is so massive now, it's insane. And I was telling you about the blind spot monitor. There you can see it's showing that red triangle as well. And that's about it. This vlog is over. Bye bye.